to figure out how to get the texture to work correctly on the SpongeBob?
Oh, no, so what I'm guessing, if I recall, the SpongeBob was output from probably and when we export from Blender, we don't get the texture. I think the texture happens. It's propagated to really just but it's something that something we should try. Sure. Okay.
I'm running into that was not supposed to do that. They're starting.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get to it. Before we begin, I always love to show you kind of, stuff that I'm working on. I was playing around with that SpongeBob model that we saw the other day, and I decided to give it a rig, which is, in general, just a very fun thing to do. It usually doesn't take very much time. How many of you have actually worked with Blender before? Any of you? So it's a very, very intimidating program. The UI, the UX, the hotkeys are a little bit difficult to get used to. But once you do, it's just a ton of fun, actually. And one thing I've discovered as an educator is that we don't always have a ton of time to teach you things. But what are they doing out there? But if I can get you hooked on something, if I can get your tastes whetted, if I can get you excited, then you'll learn a lot more on your own than I could ever teach you. In this case, I created this rig, and we bound it to the geometry. Now I have the ability to mess with SpongeBob's nose. You've seen this before. What you might not realize is you can adjust the angle of various kind of limbs using this armature process. But you can also do things like scale. So if we say we want SpongeBob to have a really big nose, right? We can do that really, really easily, and we get a really nice result. If we want to make SpongeBob look a little bit more like Squidward, we can take these bones and scale it like the head bone, right? If this looks kind of weird because the armature is in the way, we can make that go away, and then we have SquidBob, okay? And this is your new, nightmare monster. You make a game about this character, chasing you around, and there's your itch.io hit of the week, okay? Anyway, super, super fun stuff, learning 3D modeling. If you have time, I would encourage you to look into it. Otherwise, you can just wait for the class to be done. But that might take a while. All right, so we are right in the middle of that P2 Gold final stretch. Hopefully, this project hasn't been too stressful for you. I know some teams put in a lot of time, but the finish line is within sight. So hopefully this week won't be too bad, okay? A reminder, you only have to finish up your previous tasks this week, and then you have a tiny little bit of extra stuff you have to do this week. You have to get that custom character model in the game, and you have to get them animating. And you need to get your custom feature, your custom mechanic into this application, okay? So you saw some of the examples of what that can be last time. This is not something that has to be super ambitious. You can go as big or as small with this as you really want. The example we gave was just a very simple bit of new UI, a learn more button on all of your landmarks. That could be enough. But I see that some of the teams are a little bit more ambitious, right? Doing very cool stuff. And go for it if you have the time, okay? This course is not designed to be super stressful, so do what you have time for, okay? I want to show you a cool augmented reality application today. It's called Toko Toko, okay? It is a kind of an interesting little app that has some computer vision at work. It has some really interesting technology that combines the world of art and AR. Okay, we were just talking about 3D art. What could we do if we could get 2D art working in kind of an interactive, augmented reality kind of way? So let's go take a look. This was not a super popular app, only 42 reviews, well rated though. And I found some videos of the application. This is a trailer. I think you're going to get some Animal Crossing vibes if you've seen that series before. Let's take a look. Okay. So you don't learn a lot from this trailer. You do kind of get that Pikmin and kind of Animal Crossing vibes from the way the characters look, the way they animate, the way they sound. But what is the actual game? Well, this is a game that you might hand to someone who's an artist, a 2D artist, and who wants to customize these characters, who wants to draw things that will then spawn into life before their eyes. Here's some video footage of the application in motion. So our character is missing a face, and we're being prompted to give him one. Okay, you scan the face and... there you go. It gets mapped right onto the face. So, kind of neat, yeah? And if maybe you have, a younger sibling or a child or something who you want them to exercise those 2D artistic abilities in a new way, it could be kind of an educational experience for them, right? In particular, it can sometimes be a bit strange when you take a 2D surface, like what you've drawn on paper, and you have to apply that and see how it kind of meshes onto a 3D mesh. Sometimes something, a face that looks really good in 2D on a flat plane doesn't look super good when it's wrapped over a curved surface. And so when you're an artist, you often have to draw your textures such that when they're wrapped around a model, they will look good, okay? Anyway, kind of an interesting application. I know almost nothing more about this company, okay? They have a paid premium app, They have not a ton of reviews. The technology looks really cool, and the game is very charming. The trailer was well produced, but I don't know if they are still around. 2022, so maybe their copyright hasn't been renewed. This company could be toast. I guess they are still paying the $100 a year to keep their apps up on the App Store. But yeah, I don't know a whole lot else about them. I wouldn't be surprised if they were a company based in Japan, so there could be a language barrier. Maybe that's why I can't find their website. But kind of an interesting app. And an example of kind of a hybrid cross between a game and kind of an artistic educational app. So we say in this course, right, 494 is where you make the game, right? This course isn't really about that, but so long as you have some sort of impactful social purpose beyond recreation, you can still target recreation as a secondary thing, okay? Games can still be made in this course. It just has to have some other focus, okay? A quick announcement, if you are interested in IA and grader roles for this course or any of your courses, there should be an email from the department in your inbox now. I believe it came out a few days ago. If you're interested in being on the staff of any course, please fill that application out. It usually doesn't take very long. At the very least, that helps the instructors of the course know who's interested, okay, when it comes time to recruit and figure out what the staff is going to be, okay? I can't always guarantee slots, right? This is not a huge course, so we don't have a very, very big staff. But if there are openings and you're available, you'll get that consideration. So thank you for supporting the course, and thanks for supporting your other courses too, okay? All right, a quick reminder, when you deal with headsets in this course, right, you want them to end up looking like this. If you see a drooping headset cable, try and get it off the ground and wrapped around. This is going to be more important on P3 when many of you will return to VR. A quick poll. How many of you currently are planning to do a VR project for Project 3? Okay, back to Unreal Engine, back to the world of VR. How many of you have an augmented reality idea that you want to explore? Unity. Okay, awesome. Usually it seems to be about 70-30% VR to AR, but perhaps that will change over time. We'll have to see, okay? It is October. It won't be for much longer, though. I think tomorrow is Halloween, so I hope you have a great time. I like to show this in October. A truly horrifying thing to discover is just how weak console hardware is in many cases. Okay, the Nintendo Switch hardware. How many of you have a Nintendo Switch or have played it or heard of it? Right, very popular game console, beautiful, breathtaking games on that console. Breath of the Wild, right? Legend of Zelda, Mario Odyssey. The first time I put my Unity indie game, my low-poly indie game, onto the Nintendo Switch, I got this, to my horror. Do you see it? So this game is not super computationally advanced, but if you look at it, even this very simple scene in kind of a blocky dormitory room is running at 13 frames per second on the Nintendo Switch, okay? Ouch, okay? That should be 60. Minimum, it should be 30, okay? What is the deal here? What's causing this? Any ideas? You have some ideas, Robbie, for sure.
I mean, my first guess would be you have something like a render text or something that's causing it to render.
Yeah, at this time, this window right here is actually a render texture for a camera that's far away, right? So we're doing a lot more rendering than we probably should be. I would eventually replace this window view with an animated GIF that I pre-recorded. The effect is more or less the same, and we saved a lot of performance that way. Another thing Nintendo Switch is not very good at is any sort of dynamic lighting. Your lights, maybe you can get away with one or two, but having more than a couple in a scene is a big, big performance hit. Another interesting thing is that sometimes when you download a model, what you've been doing from a place like Sketchfab or the Unity Asset Store or the Unreal Engine Marketplace, those models can be something really simple like a key, but if you don't pay attention, if you're not careful, that key could have many, many millions of triangles forming it, okay? It could be very expensive geometry, in having that one simple key in your scene without simplifying it or fixing it up or anything could drag down your performance massively. Okay, that's something we ran into as well. We found out that a few models, like some chairs in the scene that looked super simple, were actually very computationally complex. So, or geometrically complex. So, anyway, this is something that my computers, even my crappy laptops, could handle just easily, at least 30 FPS. Nintendo Switch, we had to spend a good bit of time optimizing for that console. Now it's running at a consistent 30 in pretty much every scene, but it was very educational to get it to that point. Anyway, if you're curious about any of this, please ask me. I'd love to talk about it later, okay? One more final interesting thing. The art style in this game is meant to be low poly. The screen is meant to be look like it's a PlayStation game, or perhaps if a different filter is being chosen, it'll look like really old, like recorded camera footage, okay? VHS style. This art style allowed us to go in and basically cut the resolution of the game in half, okay? Without anyone noticing. It's the art style, right? It's supposed to look gritty and a bit mushy and a bit blocky. So that means we get to cut the internal rendering resolution in half, and that saved us a lot of rendering performance as well, basically for free, all right? So lots of interesting things you can attack and try when you've got performance needs. On many of our projects in this course, we don't care too much about performance, which is a bit of a shame. You learn a lot when you have to optimize like that. But if you want to take a course that has a much greater focus on performance, that game engine architecture course is definitely one of those. So you can focus on taking that next semester if you want to. Okay. All right. Does anyone have any comments or questions on any of this? And then we'll get into our main topic for the day. All right. Let's get to it. So we're entering that part of the course where very soon all of you are going to start diverging. You're going to start going in different directions. You're all working toward a different aim, a different project, sometimes even a different engine. And so we're going to start going a little bit more high level. We're going to have less of those workshop lectures where I write code with you and demonstrate stuff. And we're going to talk about topics like XR today and education, okay? One of the most impactful areas, it seems, that XR could have an impact in is education. And I'm guessing many of you have seen this before, right? How many of you have ever heard of this? The Oregon Trail, a famous educational game. It was made by a friend of mine, Don Rowich. He used to give talks with the 494 class every semester, which is really fun. This game was made in a really interesting context. So does anyone know when the Oregon Trail was made and why? The Oregon Trail, a famous educational game, it was made, I think, in the mid-'80s. And at the time, Don Rowich was an elementary school teacher in a Minnesota elementary school. And they didn't have any time or money to get textbooks for a unit they were doing on American expansion in the middle 1800s, okay? And they didn't have time or money for textbooks, but they did have a mainframe computer, okay? So the irony of that, you've got super expensive computer hardware on campus in the building, but you don't have money for textbooks, okay? Well, Don wrote a program as quickly as he could that it was just entirely text-based, and it allowed players to play through many of these situations, right? Form your party, make some purchases, buy supplies, and then travel to Oregon with things happening to you along the way. It was, in many ways, the first kind of roguelike game, or at least an early one, because if you lost any party members, any people, they were gone forever, all right? And what he noticed was that whereas a textbook really struggled to engage, right, elementary schoolers, middle schoolers, the interactive nature, the visceral, right, intimate nature of the game really made things much more engaging, okay? The students wanted to play it suddenly. They were hooked. They couldn't forget the things that happened to them on the Oregon Trail. Thus, they were able to learn much more effectively, and they didn't forget things nearly as quickly, okay? We'll talk more about that toward the end. When we talked about game engines earlier in the course, we talked about how they're really good at helping you answer some reality-based questions, right? What do you want your reality composed of? Where do you want to place things relative to each other? How do you want it all to work and connect and relate? But the why, right? That question of why you choose to build something is not something that an engine can help you with, okay? That's a very human question, and that relies on your experience of life as a human. What problems have you encountered? Which ones do you want to solve? How are you going to do it, okay? So the why, right? The what, the where, the how. You're getting good at these now, but we'll have to start answering that creative question, why, soon. On P3, you'll have to do that. Hopefully you've been thinking about it a little bit. And when you think about one really powerful thing you might choose to pursue, right? When you look at all these pretty well-known successful use cases for XR, 3 of these on here are basically education, training, right? So people wonder what the blockchain is for these days, okay? Some people wonder whether everything needs to be in VR or AR, okay? But we don't have to wonder about whether XR is good at this particular thing, okay? Education, training, this kind of stuff, all right? So we could say, well, maybe you want your final project to be related to education or training in some way. But we're going to talk later about other topics, such as business and art. Maybe you want to make a really artistic piece in XR, okay? That could be very valid as well. But today we're talking about education, and it's a big, big deal. You may not realize how big of a deal it is until you start looking at the numbers. Governor Whitmer, right, Michigan governor, in 2022 signs a budget for $22 billion in Michigan's K through 12 schools, colleges, universities, basically supporting education. That is a lot of money, all right? Michigan, as a state, is not actually that big. Okay, geographically, it's pretty big. How many people do exist in this state? Do you know? Like, we have about 10 million people, okay? Over the summer, I was in Shanghai, right? A single Chinese city. I think it has 30 million people, at least, okay? This state doesn't have a huge population. And a lot of the money that we spend, right, 26% of the entire budget for the state of Michigan goes to the topic of education, okay? That is an enormous, enormous amount. If you look at large corporations, right, Scholastic Corp, I believe they do a lot of educational materials. They do some textbooks. They do some software for learning, right? $1.14 billion valuation for a company that focuses purely on education. Okay, you can look at their financials online and you can see they're bringing in $500 million of revenue. It looks like every quarter. That's amazing. All right, I'm not sure if that can't be. That seems way too high. But it's amazing stuff. Oh, their revenue, their income's only $50 million. That explains their valuation being $1 billion. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Okay, does anyone know how big the University of Michigan's endowment is? Any idea what it is these days? Because I think it's grown significantly. University of Michigan endowment is $17.9 billion, okay? This is money that isn't being spent. This is money that University of Michigan just has sitting there in investing accounts and, hopefully creating interest, which is then spent on research and scholarships and stuff like that, okay? That is an enormous amount of funds, amount of resources. Let's see here. Right? Yep, U of M, $17 billion. So it's gone up since then. Absolutely amazing, okay? If you think about it, education is such a big deal because it takes up so much of our lives, and it's so important to our lives, to everyone's lives, to keeping society kind of going. It can take 20 plus years of education, which is, around 1/4 of the average lifetime, to become a really productive member of the overall society, right? How old are people in here, right? You don't have to answer if you don't want to, but I recall when I took 494 way back in the day, I think I was around 20, 21, right? So, right, you've been learning, right, and growing and developing, right, and taking in knowledge using public education services, right, paying your way through University of Michigan for a lot of your life, okay? And so, right, it's going to be very, very expensive. This also means that there's a lot of impact to be had if we could shorten that a little bit, right? Have you ever had really, really good weeks where it feels like you can just learn something like that? Just super, super fast, okay? You've also probably had experiences where it takes you 4 months and you still don't feel like you really understand organic chemistry, right? And the question for us is, what's the difference between those two, right? How do certain learning experiences, how do those play out really quickly? How do we learn things quickly? Why does it take a long time to learn things sometimes? Okay? Do you remember this clip from The Matrix? Okay? Just a really quick short.
Now, supposed to start with these operation programs first. That's Major Butter and Shed. Let's do something a little more fun. How about combat training? Jiu-jitsu. I'm going to learn jiu-jitsu. Holy shit. Hey, Mikey, I think he likes it. How about some more? Hell yes.
Right? So, 10 seconds, and Neo has had jiu-jitsu downloaded into his brain. You can imagine if that was something like architecture, okay? We currently have housing shortages. What are we going to do? Let's get more people building stuff. Let's train people to build stuff more effectively. What if we could pump out that kind of knowledge in 10 seconds? What impact would that have on our society, on our lives, and our ability to address problems? And what's really interesting here as well is that Neo, it's a bit exhausting. He looks like he's out of breath, but he really likes it. He enjoys it, okay? How many of you have ever played a game of Civilization or any game for like 10 hours straight? You've had a really long gaming session, okay? Not super healthy to do that, okay? You don't want to do that all the time. But when you're playing a game like Civilization, even when you're playing a game like Mario Kart, you are constantly learning. You are improving at the game. You are learning its ins and outs. You're getting a better mental model of what's going on and what decisions will lead to what outcomes, okay? The question is, why can't we do the same for general chemistry, for orgo, right? Why can't we quickly get you to learn a new language, okay? I'm going to China. I'm going to Japan. I want to learn these languages. Why can't we do that quickly? Why can't we get people to grind that knowledge for 10 hours a day? Like we can get them to grind games for 10 hours a day, okay? Also, by the way, that scene right there, if we could one day manipulate someone's neurons in just the right way to put information into their head really quickly, that would make education a lot cheaper, right? A lot faster, a lot more efficient. What if a hacker got involved? Imagine the chaos that you could cause if you got control of a machine that was implanting stuff into someone's brain. That could be pretty messy. What happens if the machine messes up, or it's misconfigured, or it fails halfway through? What happens to you then? Okay? Does anyone know what they're doing out there? Any idea? It sounds like a competition, because...
I think Jacob was working on, like, a game with the STAMP students, so, like, their characters are in the game.
Oh, that's really cool.
Him and SC.
Let's see. Yeah, I just... Oh, yes. So I watched him make that. That's awesome. We have a game engine architecture student and a 494 student out there who made a game for, I think, the stamps department or someone, and now they're playing it. That's really cool. Anyway, why is education so expensive, right? You ask yourself, why do we need professors, universities, right? These wonderful facilities, it all is really expensive, okay? When we could, theoretically, just grab these textbooks, all the knowledge is there, and we could go and just download it into our brain. We could just grind these textbooks for 10 hours a day. Why are you not going to do this? Has anyone tried to do this? Hey, I'm not going to take the course. I'm just going to go buy the textbook and read it all the way through. Has anyone tried that? I've bought textbooks with the intention of reading them, and what happens to me? Anyone know? I read like the first chapter, and then I'm gone. Never pick it up again. Yes?
It's so boring.
It's so boring, right? It's very, very boring. It's very dry. Yes, the knowledge is there, but you don't really get the chance to practice it. The knowledge isn't directly connected to things that are cool or interesting or impactful, okay? I was never very good at trigonometry until I discovered what I could use it for in video games, okay? To make better games, to make things that float, right? To make things that aim in a really cool way, right? And so, right, when you say, why not just grind these textbooks, there's a problem of immersion. There's a problem of intimacy. There's a problem of outcomes and feedback, okay? Because when it comes to education, the missing ingredient is engagement. That is the holy grail for educators. How do we get people to be as engaged with general chemistry as they tend to be with the next big video game coming out, okay? So I've got a question for you. Which of the following games, which of the following pieces of software taught me to read back in the day? I'm going to ask you, okay? Was it Reader Rabbit? Has anyone ever heard of this series? This is an educational video game series. It is meant for young children, right? It has lots of little mini games with reading challenges in it. You know, it's all right. Was it Jumpstart First Grade Reading? Okay, was it that game? Was it Reading Blaster? You may have heard of Math Blaster, but this is Reading Blaster. Or was it Pokemon Red? Gotta catch them all. Which of these games taught me to read? Can you take a guess? If you're a really good test taker, you can just answer this because one of these is not like the other, okay? Pokemon was a phenomenon. When I went to school, everyone was talking about their Pokemon. Socially, I had to play that game. I had to get into it. It was so fun. It was exciting. It was a big world you could explore, and the characters were so cool, right? And yet, I could not read. I remember very vividly playing the game. And when I found a new Pokemon, I'd have to walk my little Game Boy handheld console over to my uncle, who would then read it for me and tell me the Pokemon's name. I'd go, oh, right, Jigglypuff? Oh my gosh, Squirtle? Right? This is awesome. And it became a very, very important thing to learn to read as soon as possible after that. And suddenly, like it felt like weeks later, it was probably months, but weeks, months later, I knew how to read. It was no big deal. Never stopped, right? Okay, I got another question for you. Which of the following games taught me some of my earliest mathematics and economics? Was it Magnificent Maths, a game so obscure I couldn't find any gameplay footage or screenshots of it. I just have the box. Was it Zumbini's Logical Journey? This is a game that I guess everyone's growing older and time is moving on. I used to have a ton of students raise their hand for Zumbini's. This was apparently a very popular math game back in the day. I never played it, never heard of it. So, was it Math Missions, grades K through 2? Or was it Roller Coaster Tycoon, Loopy Landscapes? Okay. Which of these games do you think really gave me a boost in my math and economics understanding? Which of these games hooked me on the topics early on? And again, one of these is not like the other. Roller Coaster Tycoon was a really interesting game for me, right? I remember very clearly right? This is a game where you build a roller coaster theme park and you have to manage the kind of economics of that. You have to make good decisions about what rides, what stalls, what food you'll sell, where you'll put everything so people can easily get from thing to thing, spend money faster. You have to choose what pricing you're going to use. Will you use a one-time pass? You'll only charge them at the theme park entrance ride and then everything's free? Or do they get in free and you charge them throughout the park? What do you do? There's a question in here of how do you pay for it all? I remember when I was very young, there was this menu I could bring up. When I ran out of money, I have no more money, I want to build the next roller coaster, so what can I do? There's this menu I could open up and it had a ton of numbers on it. It looked like a spreadsheet, but I didn't know what a spreadsheet was, okay? And there was this little button I could click, and I clicked it and my money went up. Oh my gosh, I click the button, I get more money. Incredible, right? Is this how the real world works? Right? So I'm clicking on this button and I'm getting more and more and more money and it's great. I can build everything I want. Wonderful. But at the end of the month, something happens. At the end of the month, I discover that my money is going down faster than ever. Okay? I'm losing tons of money now and I'm not sure where it's going. I'm not spending it on new rides. It's just the end of the month comes and boom, I lost a huge chunk of my cash. At that point, I realized I discovered a financial concept that is somewhat spooky to a lot of people, right? What is this concept? What is it? If you take a loan from someone, what do you have to pay? Interest. I discovered that button I had been clicking was the loan button. I was taking on huge loans without any good plan for paying it back. And sometimes it ended in my bankruptcy, okay? You can't just usually get free money, it turns out, okay? You have to pay that money back over time. And so I was playing this game nonstop, and a lot of my economic understanding kind of came from putting together theme parks and watching it play out, watching it fail sometimes and succeed in others. I don't think I'm rare in that. You know, I would sometimes play games like Math Blaster, but never for very long. Roller Coaster Tycoon had what it needed to engage me for the long term. As a result, it is the thing that taught me not the games that were designed for teaching, but the game that was designed for fun, okay? What about astronomy? Did any of you have astronomy quizzes, tests in high school, middle school? You remember any of those? Remembering the order of the planets, right? Remembering properties about those celestial bodies. Okay, you ever have to do that? I never forgot the order of the planets after I ran into a certain boss fight in a certain well-known game. Has anyone ever heard of Final Fantasy? Some people would say this is not an educational game, okay? But if you see this footage, you might never forget it. This is the final boss. This is a 5-minute long super move the final boss performs on you, okay? It's called Supernova, and just watch this, okay? Just watch.
I've never voted for Trump.
Yeah, not this though. Let's see. There we go. Okay, I'd like to point out that 5-minute long attack, well, that's what it felt like, didn't even KO any of the party members. Anyway, right, it might seem like a little bit of a joke, but I'm not really kidding, right? This is not a game that's explicitly out to teach you astronomy, but this game contains many important ideas and concepts from astronomy in this one attack, okay? What did you learn here? We got to see not only many of the planets, but for instance, Saturn. Do you know what Saturn's rings are made of? You might assume it's just a solid disk. That's what it kind of looks like if you're a kid, right? But no, you get to see right here, like Saturn, their rings is little bits of rock and ice and all of that, and it gets destroyed in the attack. Did you know that that gigantic planet Jupiter is a gas giant, right? Now, I don't think this is actually what would happen. I do think it has like a metal core, from what I recall. But it is a gas giant, and so, right, you hit the gas, it just goes right through the gas. I love how it then explodes, right, like right away, right? Very gratuitous, very fun. What about the concept of, I believe, the red dwarf? Does anyone know what that is? Right? The sun, when it begins to run out of energy, right, toward the end of its life, one semi-likely way that the Earth will end is with the sun expanding. It's going to go red dwarf. It will expand and it will consume the planets nearby, all right, before eventually collapsing. And so, we're not missing a whole lot. You even get to see what the Milky Way looks like, okay? We live in this gigantic spiral, and the solar system is in there somewhere. So the amount of information packed into this one super overdone boss fight attack, right? It is so epic, you could hardly forget about it. And so when you're on that quiz and trying to remember the order of the planets, you think, oh, okay, Sephiroth's bullet went past, right? Pluto, right? And then Saturn. We got Jupiter going on. I don't see Uranus in here. All right, that's one that's missing. I think we saw Venus and Mercury. I don't think we saw Mars. Yeah, right? So you got some astronomy knowledge baked into the game. And if this happens to you, you won't forget it. What about the topic of epidemics, public health? Okay, has anyone ever played a game called Plague Inc? Okay, this is a very famous game, and before the pandemic, this was a well-known title, all right? This is a game in which you play as a disease. You play as a pandemic, and you are trying to basically eliminate all of humanity. If you leave even a single person alive, they will repopulate the planet, and you'll fail in your mission. And so, if you want to learn how pandemics work, if you want to accomplish your objective, you're going to need to learn about how pandemics work. Let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer.
Commencing autopsy 3. Time, 21:04. 27-year-old female infected with unknown pathogen. Blood analysis indicates virus. Provisional name is PAX-12. Deceased had traveled in China before returning home 2 weeks ago. That must have been pre-quarantine. Unknown if had contact with livestock, but I can definitely see evidence of insect bites. Deceased had reported coughing and sneezing with a high fever. I'm seeing a nasty rash, some abscesses around the abdominal cavity. Clear signs of immune suppression. Cause of death appears to be catastrophic organ failure. Findings match reports coming out of China. This is highly concerning. The deceased may still be infectious.
It's a really nice trailer. I think the only thing I'd like in it from a storytelling perspective is if the narrator started to develop a cough toward the end. I think that'd be super, super cool. Anyway, a very, very cool game. And this game, again, was huge before the COVID-19 pandemic began making headlines. And have any of you played this game? right? If you play this game, you'll very quickly discover that eliminating all of humanity is not that easy, right? If you get out there and you start immediately developing very nasty symptoms that lead to death, then you'll attract a lot of attention. You'll be eliminated. The scientific community will have tons of time to quarantine you and to eliminate you. And so one technique you try and use is you try and spread to as many people as possible without really showing any symptoms, okay? Then you can turn the symptoms on later, you can upgrade, you can evolve, and really cause widespread havoc. Another thing, if Greenland or Iceland or tiny island communities shut down their airplanes and ports and airports, you're in big trouble, okay? Because you will not be able to get to them, you will burn through everyone else, and thus humanity will almost be gone, you'll have no more hosts, you'll be gone, and then humanity survives and repopulates. So you could play this game, or you could get into the topic by opening a public health textbook, okay? And I'm guessing if I asked which you would like to do right now, okay, for the next 3 hours, we have to do this, okay? You've got these two choices for 3 hours straight. Which are you going to go for? And I think I don't really have to answer that question, okay? I don't really have to ask it. So Plague Inc. does have, if you were wondering, it does have a COVID-19 DLC pack. However, if that sounds a bit tasteless, know that it was entirely a charity drive, basically, to help research onto the topic and help people get through it. But you can play as COVID-19 if you want to in Plague Inc., all right? So what I'm getting at here is that products, there are lots of them that are trying to educate you out there, okay? And one of the main distinctions that you might make as an XR developer, as a game developer, is between products that are trying to educate, ones that engage versus ones that don't manage to engage, okay? The games, the apps, right? The software that you've seen yourself spend a lot of time with, right? You might not realize just how educational these truly can be, okay? And yet we have a lot of products that don't really engage despite being explicitly designed for educational purposes. Those educational games, Reader Rabbit, all those, that Math Blaster that I showed you, users, right, players, the end user doesn't buy that game. Who buys Reader Rabbit? Not the player, but who? The parent, right? Because they're not trying to really entertain, they're not trying to engage. What does that mean? They just want to get something into, little Timmy, little Sally's brain, and so they buy the thing that explicitly designed to do that, even if it might fail, okay? Minecraft is a very well-known game. It is the most popular game in the world, I think. It was for a long time. Fortnite is up there. And this is a game that is exceptionally educational, okay? In fact, it is something of a platform for education. Did you know that Minecraft has an education edition? A whole new version of the game with additional tools for educators, okay? Let's take a look.
Minecraft is a video game that has a lot to offer. At its core, it's very open-ended. If you want to have an adventure, you can have an adventure. If you want to build something, you can build something. If you want to talk to your friends, you can talk to your friends. If you want to kill monsters, you can kill monsters. So the game appeals to a lot of people. It makes a lot of sense to take a game that is already fun, that is proven to be enjoyable to kids, and try to find a way to bring it into the classroom.
Imagine how long this took Brandon to make. It just drops you from all the way up there.
My school, as well as many others, have been struggling with the issue of how to teach digital citizenship, which is internet ethics, online safety, privacy, research. I mean, it's everything. Because as our kids were getting into middle school and high school, we had a lot of, frankly, ugly incidents happen. And so, the school's administration, along with the computer department, decided we really need to start teaching these concepts earlier. We're going to treat the game world as part of the classroom. It is a classroom, it's just in the digital space. And almost every single kid finally kind of came around and sort of and got it.
Go ahead and let's start off by getting in, following the instructions that are up onto the board. Okay, you are students. Pick your avatar.
Pixel Pushers, as a student project here at the ETC, is working with Minecraft EDU to develop a series of software features for their software. So our programmers have been working on a quiz block and a lesson review tool to include in the Minecraft EDU software. While we're also working on researching, how and what you can best teach with Minecraft. You can really teach a wide array of things that aren't immediately obvious.
The kids have to think it's fun. Otherwise, what's the point? There's plenty of educational games out there, and frankly, very, very few of them have ever been very satisfying for me. I never wanted to use it in my classroom because it smells like school. Make sure it's in the right material. Make sure you're not using gravel for the parts that are in between the pillars there, because the gravel will fall. Let's check out group 2. Oh, nice. You finished you're almost done with the hard shapes. Good job.
In our research, we started out asking, what can Minecraft teach? As we actually started playtesting with students, we found that might be the wrong question, and that it's more interesting to ask how can Minecraft teach.
The virtual world of Minecraft, I think, is fun and powerful, for these kids. And I think they get it in a way that I think some of their teachers don't sometimes.
I think the most important thing for someone coming to Minecraft from an educational perspective is to just play the game, to just get a feel for how the game works, and then perhaps even more importantly, let the students play the game.
You have to think about where 21st century kids are living. I mean, they come here in school, but they're texting each other on the way home, and then they're on Facebook, and then they're playing games together. It's all a continuum. They don't separate the conversations that they have typed into Minecraft with the ones that they have in the lunchroom. There's such excitement around this game. Getting that excitement into schools all over the world. The more voices we have coming up with ideas and creating content and sharing content, the better.
So a couple things to point out there. The software, like right here, right? This software allowing a teacher to kind of herd and observe and deal with a group of students they need to keep on track. Very, very useful stuff. I also want to point out some of this footage. Watch this footage. Let's see if it's smooth. That's pretty smooth, but we've got some footage in here like this. Ooh, very laggy, very unpleasant. I would not be surprised if that student did not have a great time. Right, you can generate challenges. You can build them. You can do team building exercises. You can take students to a Wild West town, right, to walk around, talk with NPCs, right? Look at the architecture. Look at the layouts of towns. The issues that the people had to deal with in that time, you can be there, right? It's kind of like walking through a museum, except more interactive. You can actually touch and mess with the artwork if you want to. Poke and prod things. That interactivity is extremely important, okay? So, one question is, well, we've been talking a lot about games in general, and games and XR have a lot of overlap, but what makes XR in particular so good at this kind of thing, okay? Well, you've already seen some apps like this, right? Everest VR. You remember when I showed that to you? I think I did, right? This fact that you can kind of go in and you can engage with the space. You can feel its size, its scale, right? Its realism. You can poke and prod things, right, in ways that you might not be able to in just a typical 2D video game, all right? Has anyone seen a Kellogg's Gut Bacteria Reef? So this is actually available in the lab here. It's a free game, It was made by Kellogg's for some reason, the cereal company. And they decided one day that, they really wanted to have their own VR game. And we're going to make it educational. We're going to make it, educational. Basically saying, hey, high fiber cereal is good for you. Buy more Kellogg's, right? By the way, anyone know where Kellogg's is? I just gave it away, didn't I? Yeah, it's in Battle Creek. So what is that, like 90-minute drive away? So you're going to be nice to this trailer, okay? The hometown team here. Let's take a look. So you're traveling inside the body and you're shooting things out. You ask yourself, how educational could this possibly be? Not super educational, but its big ideas are legit. You go into this gut within the game and you're trying not to eliminate the bacteria. We usually think of bacteria as being evil, right? You want to eliminate it with soap and stuff like that. No, you're actually trying to take care of and feed and fuel the bacteria, the different kinds that are in your gut. You want a healthy gut biome, as it allows you to digest food, right? And so the big ideas are pretty well represented here and easy to remember after you do it, after you go through it, okay? The NSF, has anyone heard of the National Science Foundation? If you become a graduate student, you will definitely hear about the NSF. They are one of the biggest providers of research grants and funding for research projects in the USA, okay? There's their building over there. I think that's in D.C. And they give out a lot of awards, okay? In fact, they will give out awards for things like VR educational training software, okay? I want to show you an application that got $250,000 from the NSF. This is a software called Pandemic by Prisms, and they got $250,000 to produce this back in 2020, okay? And it looks like they worked on stuff for, what is that, like half a year? Yeah, that's a little bit more than half a year maybe. Let's watch a footage of the game and the VR app, and let's see what it's about.
Good afternoon. Today, I'm declaring a state of emergency in our city. Over the last couple of weeks, we have seen an alarming rise in the number of infections from an unknown virus.
This Prisms algebra learning game enables kids, parents, and teachers to deepen their understanding of exponential functions through a problem that's affecting all of our lives today, a global pandemic. Your critical mission on this task force is to determine the number of weeks until our hospitals reach capacity.
So a lot of things in this app, you could say we could also represent them in 2D. A traditional website or video game could do it. Things like the mathematical calculations, right? The exponential growth. You can visualize that in 2D just fine. One thing that is interesting here, however, right? As you are trying to understand how pandemics spread, the idea that we can immerse you in a real world kind of experience on a street, right, or at a gathering, and you can actually watch as aerosols produced by your mouth spread and how far they go and how easy it is to accidentally get infected or infect someone else, right? That's something that's not quite as easy to do in 2D, in traditional games, okay? Anyway, right? The federal government of the USA funded this to $250,000, and you've seen the footage now. I think we probably overpaid a little bit. That is to say, if I handed any of you $250,000 and gave you around 7 months to work on the project instead of the 4 weeks you're going to get on P3, I think we could have gotten a better result, okay? Probably. Anyway, that is just my opinion here, not trying to diss the team or anything like that. What I'm saying is the federal government should be giving you money and not this team, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. If you go to grad school, I will help you make that case, okay? Remember, I'll write a grad school letter for you if you do a good job in this course. Anyway, so what about AR? What about augmented reality, okay? One interesting thing to keep in mind about augmented reality is that it really still places the focus on our real world, okay? And so when it comes to understanding our real world, or in this case, historic landmarks, AR can be really very good at that, okay? So have any of you ever gone to a museum and you've got this audio that you could listen to, and when you walk up to certain exhibits, you can actually hear some commentary, some brief commentary on what you're looking at. Has anyone ever done that? You've heard of it though, right? Yeah. So it's kind of like an audio tour. Here's an example of an AR kind of tour that gives more context into various landmarks and interesting areas in the city of Richmond, Virginia, which, if you don't have the context for why that city is notable historically, it was actually the capital of the Confederate States of America during the Civil War, okay? So a very big city that had a big hand in that very bloody conflict. So let's take a look at this media right here.
In terms of wearable AR, this is...
Actually, let me get the full screen going.
Right now, this will be one of the closest present.
Okay. Up. I think Google just disabled ad block, didn't they? On Chrome? So you're toast if you want to avoid ads. Okay, here we go. Yeah, you just use Firefox, yep. But then you can't do the Google Slides as well. They got us. All right, here we go.
In terms of wearable AR, this is the only place in the country where you can find this application of this technology to the Confederate Monuments controversy.
A Richmond-based company is using augmented reality along with audio for a new tour about Monument Avenue's history. One which took center stage this past summer with the removal of all but one Confederate monument. Greg Burkheiser is a cultural heritage lawyer as well as the co-founder and CEO of Art Class, which provides historic tours for over 50 sites across the globe, but is first in RVA.
We design augmented reality software that allows you to put on transparent smart glasses and walk around and see layered over your view of the real-world landscape all kinds of digital magic. The technology acts like a time machine, takes you from the present back to the past, and then back to the present again.
The tour is conducted by Lexi Cleveland.
Because I love Richmond, this is my hometown, this is where my family's from, so being able to share the story of Richmond in a more honest way is very important to me.
Cleveland is also a public historian and vice president of client services for Art Class, who led the development of the project. Here's what she says people can expect in this unique experience.
So they're going to look at the monument, all they do is press and hold this button. That'll start the content, and different stops have different types of content. So some of them have like 360 surround, so you actually have to like look around to see everything. Some things have like billboards like placed in various locations. Some things are like front one.
The tour that lasts about 90 minutes is being offered for free. That's because both Burkheiser and Cleveland say this was a way to give back. But more importantly, they say they hope after the experience, this will help the city move forward.
Because the story behind Avenue is not finished. It's evolving. The communities that have Confederate monuments are in the midst of a very serious conversation, and we want that to be fact-based.
We're all neighbors, so that human element of being able to have a conversation with your neighbors is important, because then you can ask questions, you can have conversations instead of just kind of seeing some content and being like, well, where do I go from here? I still have questions.
And some of the things you'll be able to see in the AR tour include stereographed photos that are over 150 years old, showing the devastation of Richmond after Confederates burned it on their way in their retreat, as well as the removal of the monuments that were taken down this past summer. Now, if you are interested in taking a tour, just visit artglassgroup.com.
Right? So you, kind of in a similar sense to what Pokemon Go did, augmented reality being used to kind of give you another perspective and maybe more information on the spaces that you walk through, okay? The community that you've lived in, learning more about it, right? And yes, here we go. We've got Pokemon Go that very much did a similar thing, okay? All of those little secrets and monuments and bits of history that have been around you the whole time, here is an experience to lead you to them, to make them important, and to help you learn, okay? So I think the main big takeaway here, okay, as you think about your P3, right, when it comes to education, it's a very, very powerful way to use XR, and a big part of that is that engagement factor. So that that first feeling you had when you put on the VR glasses for the first time, right? You never forget it. And if we can get that, right, to happen, we're going to accomplish a lot more. You think and compare a textbook on emergency medical training to actually living through an experience, right? That is very visceral. It's excellent training. It's also very safe, okay? I will tell you that right now I'm in training for something where, you can get killed, okay, if you don't do the right thing in an emergency situation. Now, I won't tell you what I'm training for. I think some of you might know. But being able to actually have the emergency happen to you in a virtual environment is a very effective way to train, right? And to figure out what you're going to do if that moment ever arises for real. And so, another thing to point out, this textbook's not interactive at all. It can't automatically judge you or grade you. It can't randomize its elements to make sure you really understand it and you're not just memorizing things, okay? This all becomes possible when you introduce the magic and interactivity of software, and in particular, the immersion of realistic VR, okay? So I've got a question for you now. I'm going to provide 2 different descriptions of a product, and I want to tell you which one you think would work better as an educational tool. Number 1, the Oregon Trail is a historical survival simulator set in the 1850s where players must plan carefully and think critically to survive a perilous, desperate journey across America's western frontier. Okay, that's number 1. You want to play that? Number 2, Oregon Trail is a historical quiz game where players answer questions about 1850s American migration to score points. Which are you going to play? You want to score some points? How many points do you got? Who cares, right? One of these is just a very cheap and quick gamification, in air quotes, of a quiz, okay? The kind of which you might find at the back of a chapter of a textbook, okay? A poor attempt at interactivity. And over here, a test bed where you may experiment, okay? Where you may make decisions and see what happens. Where there will be consequences, so you should stop to think for a bit. Size up your situation. Maybe even debate with a friend if you're playing with them, okay? So I think it's more clear which of these will work better. And I'll tell you, a lot of people's knowledge of the Oregon Trail comes from the game The Oregon Trail. Everyone's heard of it. Okay, everyone has heard of dysentery because of that game, and thus it really was the more popular, more effective approach, okay? It was created in 1971 by elementary school teacher Don Rowich, really, really nice guy. He had to teach a unit on that manifest destiny period, okay? Essentially, in that era, the United States had greatly expanded via purchases of land from France and via the I believe, Spanish-American War. or Mexican-American War. I don't remember exactly. And had gotten a large part of the West Coast, California, all that stuff. The thing is, it's not a part of your country unless there are people there, okay? Paper can say whatever it wants to say. You need to get people there to claim the territory. And so the U.S. Congress created the Homestead Act. Has anyone heard of that? The Homestead Act basically said, and remember, this was during a time where land was wealth. If you owned some land, you were going to be wealthy because you could farm that land probably. The Homestead Act said, okay, anything west of this line, if you're the first person there and you promise to farm it for like 5 to 10 years, you can own that land. We'll just give it to you. And so this created a ton of people rushing out west, rushing to Utah, rushing to Oregon and California. And so that it was a huge mess, actually. They caused a lot of problems, especially for the native peoples of the area. But anyway, right? So the school had a mainframe computer. This game originally was created in about 2 weeks. We're going to play a later edition of the game that has some basic aesthetics to it. And it was an immediate hit with students, okay? Immediate hit, all right? So what I want to do, you can learn more about video games and education and learning and how it all works at a much deeper level in the Education 333 course. I highly encourage you to take it if you've got time. But we're going to play the Oregon Trail together, okay? We're going to give it 5 minutes. Let's go use the restroom, take a break. And then when we come back, we're going to have about 30 minutes to make it to Oregon, okay? We're going to speed run our way across the country, and we're going to need a wagon leader, okay? Who would like to lead us? Hopefully we have a very good leader who will take our opinions into account, maybe hold a vote or two, okay? But we need a wagon leader. Who would like to lead us to Oregon, to the promised land of milk and honey? Anyone? All right, come on up. Okay, so we're going to give it 5 minutes. Please take a break. You can take a break if you want to. And then we're going to travel to Oregon together, okay? See you all in 5. That's okay. All right. No worries. That's okay. Yeah. See you. So when you go back and you make those decisions by entering 1, 2, 3, game. What I recommend you do is when a big chunk of text comes up, read it to the audience so they can know what it's saying. They can also read it, but and then ask them for decisions, right? If you're deciding what to buy or to leave or to do, if someone got killed, ask them, and you might get some money. And have fun. Try and speak with a loud voice. Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's get back to it. The wagon trains are leaving. It is time to go to Oregon. We have our wagon train leader here. And so, yeah, go ahead and take it away.
All right. Hey, y'all. I'm Jason, and let's hit this trail.
Let's go.
So I'll read off the options, and then I guess we'll just vote with our hands. So you may travel the trail, learn about the trail, see the Oregon top 10, turn sound off, choose management options, and
Number 2, learn about the trail.
what is your choice? What are we feeling? I personally, I'm kind of just, I like to dive into it. Yeah, I just dive into it. But let's ask the floor. Come, voting is not a choice. It's a, it's a, what's it called? It's our responsibility.
It's your civic duty.
Yeah, it's your civic duty to vote on the Oregon Trail.
I think we should just.
We should just hit it. All right.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Many kinds of people made the trip to Oregon. You may be a banker from Boston, be a carpenter from Ohio, be a farmer from Illinois, or find out the differences between these choices. What is the choice? I feel like I want to kind of see what these things are. All right. Do you guys have anything? Do you guys want to weigh in? One? Okay. I'm seeing more 4s, and that's also what I picked. So let's see. So banker, you'll have more money for supplies and services than a carpenter or farmer. But the harder you have to try, the more points you get. Therefore, the farmer earns the greatest number of points and the banker earns the least. I don't know what points do, and okay. Okay, I feel like that helps inform my decision. Shall we vote again?
This is a disguised difficulty select menu.
Oh. All right. How difficult are we feeling, boys? One. Okay, what is the first name of the wagon leader? Oh, that's me. What are the names of the 4 other members in your party? Okay, well, who wants to be in the party? I guess, like, these closer people. So we'll start with you. John. Izzy. Emerson. And yes, I knew that. Right. Are they correct? Yeah. Okay, it is not 19. It is 1848. Your jumping off place for Oregon is Independence, Missouri. You must decide which month to leave Independence. What is your choice? Let's see. I feel like a warmer month works better, right? That's my inclination, but I also don't know how long we're going to be on the trip.
Yeah, we're going to be there for a long time, right? So we have to think about how we want to go into the winter.
Yeah, I feel like the earlier the better for me. Oh, that's 7.
What? Oh.
Okay, we seem pretty divided. Well, actually, the man in the back agrees with me, so I like your choice too. But let's, I guess, being divided, let's get the game's opinion. A public meeting. If you leave too early, there won't be any grass for your ox to leave. If you leave too late, you may not get to Oregon before winter comes. If you leave at just the right time, it'll be green grass and the weather will still be cool. Okay. Well, with that in mind, what are we voting? Okay, between 2 and 3, 2. Yeah, okay, 2. Before leaving Independence, you should buy equipment and supplies. You have $1,600 in cash, but you don't have to spend it all now. You can buy whatever you need at Matt's General Store. Okay, and this is Matt. Can fix you up a team of oxen to pull your wagon and clothing for both summer and winter. And food, ammunition, and spare parts. Let's see. Well, which item? Oh, yeah. Well, I guess who wants, well, all in favor of buying an oxen?
If we don't, we're stuck here.
All right. There are 2 oxen and a yoke. I recommend at least 3 yoke. I charge $40 a yoke. How many yoke do you want? 3? It is his, but he might have other motives because he is selling this to us. But I'm feeling 3, yeah.
They might die on the way.
True. That is very true.
You know, Panda Express is now the cost of an entire oxen. One Panda Express.
I guess our next item would be food. Okay, so for food, I recommend you take at least 200 pounds of food for each person in your family. I see that you have 5 people in all. You'll need flour, sugar, bacon, and coffee. My price is 20 cents a pound. How many pounds of food do you want? So 5 times 200. Well, he's recommending 1,000 pounds of food. But I feel like if there was a place that we might want to, save a little money, this would be it. I guess like
it's also, if you get ammunition, you can hunt in this game, but it's like a mini game and it sucks.
Yeah, you're only allowed to hunt once in this game.
Okay.
And it sucks.
That I will keep that in mind. Okay, maybe then we skimp out on our ammunition.
You could trade it.
True. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of doing whatever that mini game is either. So 1,000 more or less, or just right at 1,000. What are we feeling?
Maybe like 1,500.
1,500. Okay, that's a lot more. Do you have any thoughts, Izzy?
That seems fine.
1,500 or 1,000?
Yeah, I feel like
okay.
we're gonna lose some.
True. But maybe it makes us a bigger target.
We could be in the middle, 1,250.
1,250. How about you two in the back? Okay. So 1,250. Yeah. All right. And then clothing. Let's see. You'll need warm clothing in the mountains. I recommend at least taking 2 sets of clothes per person. Each set is $10. How many sets of clothes do you want? I think we can just go with that recommendation, right? So 2 sets times 5, 10 sets of clothes. Okay, ammunition. Sell ammunition in boxes of 20 bullets. Each box costs $2. How many boxes of ammunition do we want? Ooh, this is tough. He has no recommendations. Maybe we can buy other stuff first and come back to this, because this doesn't seem to be a like super pertinent purchase. Spare parts. Okay, it's a good idea to have a few spare parts for your wagon. Here are the prices: wheel, axle, tongue. What is the tongue of a wagon?
I don't know.
Oh, how many tongues does a wagon have?
Probably one, right?
Well, like I'm pretty sure it has 4 wheels, 2 axles, and
the tongue is. I want to say it's the thing that connects the axles to each other, but
Oh, it's the thing you use to pull on the axle.
Okay.
So you attach it to the axle. That's the wagon tongue.
and the rotation.
Yeah. So we have one. So I think we need 1 tongue, right? So for wheels, how many spare wheels should we get? From let's say, well, if it's possible to show with your hands, do that. If you want more, then I think kind of around this area.
You got 17 minutes remaining.
Oh yeah. Okay. Whoops. Okay. How many wagon wheels? How many axles? Shoot a number. Favorite number. Okay. All right. Tongues. 1. All right. Ammunition. We still have a lot more money. Can you buy stuff on the road?
Yep.
Okay.
The prices might change. But
Let's see. Ammunition. What are we thinking? 5. I see a 5. Give me a 5. Okay. All right. Let's hit the road. Unless anyone has any, or forever hold your silence. All right. Use your sword. Ready to start. Okay. All right. Weather cool, health good, pace steady, rations filling. You may continue on. Let's see. Wow, we're right at the start. Let's see. Yeah. Is all in favor of continuing on the trail? All right. That's cool. Okay. Size it. You're now at the Kansas River crossing. Yes. Oh my god. Okay, great. We're at the Kansas River. Let's look at how far we've gone. Wow, amazing progress.
15 minutes.
All right, continue on trail. I like the way you think. Oh wait, 4. What is that? Change pace. Yeah. Thoughts on pace? Steady, strenuous, grueling. I feel like we can up it to strenuous. All right, continue on trail. All right. Attempts to ford the river, caulk the wagon and float it across, take a ferry across, wait to see if the conditions improve, get more information. So, get more info. Yeah, let's see. To ford the river, pull the wagon with the oxen. Oh, that seems dangerous. Seal it so no water can get in, and then it can float. And then ferry, put your wagon. I think ferry. I'm leaning towards ferry. All right, I'm seeing some nods. Yeah. Okay. Oh no. Wait 4 days? Okay.
Oregon closes in 14 minutes.
All right. No. Yeah. Then I think the next safest option is to caulk it. All right. Fingers crossed. Oh no. All right. Yeah. From the Kansas River crossing, it is 85 miles to the Blue River crossing. Let's continue. So, I've lost one person. Oh no. Uh-oh. We are now at the Big Blue. Yeah, let's. All right. Let's see. Attempt. Well, we do have someone that just got bit by a snake, so let's check if there's medicine. Okay, never mind. Let's back to the road. You must cross. Okay. Well, given our last attempt, how brave are we feeling? Attempt to ford the river?
No. It's like 6 feet. I'm trying to get us killed.
Maybe it can walk upright. Let's see. Wait to see if conditions improve. I wonder how long waiting is. Oh, okay.
Oh, it's to the depth.
Do we think it'll get better? Or shall we just do it?
You can try it again.
Okay, one more day.
Oh.
All right. Yeah, I think it's time to go. Come on. Oh my god.
That's not good.
Uh-oh.
We have another one.
Yeah. All right.
I think we should not do that again.
Yeah. Doesn't seem to be super successful, but we've adequately tested that hypothesis.
It's because you're a banker and not a carpenter.
Oh. You're not. Yes. Let's see.
Change the pace and go faster.
Yeah. Grueling. And then attempts to trade. Can we buy supplies? Let's see. I think we missed. We lost a ton. So let's get that back. 1. And then.
We lost axles.
Okay. Let's get 1 back. Wait. Oh no, not that. Axle 5. How many axles? 1. All right. We're good. Okay. Continue on trail. Oh yeah, we're walking super fast now. Oh, whoops. I forgot about that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Wow. Look at that. Let's see. Let's no. Yeah. All right. It's time to hit the road. We're on a time crunch in this Oregon Trail. Ooh. A grave site.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't get this right here. I don't understand why this is a thing.
Okay. That was cool.
Something to point out, you can buy stuff at Fort. The further you get away from civilization, the more expensive it all becomes.
Maybe we should get more food because we've already.
True.
Food prices are going up. There's 25 cents a pound.
Okay. So, how many pounds? Another 500?
We're below 1,000 now, right? Are we? Yeah, we're like.
You have a ton of money.
Yeah, we should get probably. I want to say 1,500 more pounds.
1,500 more pounds. All right.
You think like we have the wagons to hold all that? That's a lot.
Oh. May only carry 2,000 pounds. So maybe 1,000. Wait. Oh. Oh my gosh. Oh, I bought it already. Whoops. All right. What are we at? Yeah. Money left.
8 minutes.
Okay. Let's hit the road. Fine. Yay. What a treat. Okay. So.
You see the beautiful mountains?
Yeah. That wasn't always there, was it?
I don't know.
You're now at Independence Rock. Now we got things to do.
I love all the art.
Yeah.
Lo-fi art.
Inadequate grass. Uh-oh. Yeah. Let's see. Is there? I guess. Yeah. There's not much to do. The trail divides here. You may head for the Green River crossing. Head for Fort Bridger. See the map. Well, that's a good idea. So Fort Bridger is south, and Green River crossing. Well, we would have to cross a river again, which has historically not gone very well for us.
I think we still have a lot of people, so.
It's okay.
Fort Bridger is totally wasted.
Okay. Oh no. That's okay. That's okay. We are doing fine. I think we just speed along until the health turns really bad. Oh, well.
No.
Oh no.
Should we turn the pace to lower?
Yeah. Let's see. Change pace. Let's do a strenuous pace.
You can also rest.
Attempts to. Oh yeah, stop to rest. Give it 2 days. Yeah. All right. Whoa. Okay. Let's see.
About 4 in 7 make it.
Let's see. Okay. Cross the river. Oh my goodness. Take a ferry across. Let's just wait.
It'll give Austin more time to recover.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yay. Oh my god. First successful ferry trip. Okay. Great. Oh my god, our health is back. Okay.
Everyone is eating super well. That helps.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's why we're losing food so fast.
Broken. Oh, yes. Yay!
Losing 12 pounds of food a day with consistency for
But he said we need 1,000 pounds in total for the whole
Yeah. You are now at Soda Springs. Would you like to take a look around? Okay. Pace strenuous. I feel like should we wait till the health is good to go on the faster pace again, or is fair good enough?
4 minutes.
Let's just keep going.
Okay. All right. Yeah. It's nice.
We get like half a second worth of each piece.
Let's see. We got stuff. Yeah. Oh. Oh my god.
Well, you have to walk around. You're not in the wagon the whole time. You walk alongside the oxen.
All right, another river crossing. Let's see. Take a look at the supplies. Okay, we are chilling. Continue on the trail, cross the river. Okay, 6.2 deep. Whoa. Okay, well, I'm kind of tempted for 3, especially given that we have so much money. Okay, for 3 sets of clothing. Wait, shall we?
We can buy more clothing at the next port.
True. All right. Come on. If it sinks, I'm going to be very sad. Oh.
Nice.
Yay. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, in the to buy list, clothing. Oh, okay. Is this hunt for?
2 minutes.
Okay, let's continue. Very little. Okay. Oh wait. Okay, size up the situation doesn't mean just like immediately jump to the next thing, right? Oh, we found stuff. Great. Loot. Yes. Let's buy supplies. Oh wow, it's getting more expensive. So, clothing. Let's buy like 5. Oh wait, that's not what I meant. Actually, we did lose an axle, I think. Let me just, I think check supplies. Axles 3. Never mind.
I think we should just go as far as we can.
Yeah, I think.
Final push.
Let's see. Yeah. Grueling.
If we don't make it, we have to make a home in Nevada. What a fate.
Okay, I'm gonna buy 3 sets. 8.
You got some good numbers.
What is your choice? Continue. Let's push. Come on.
Health is getting worse.
Oh. Oh no. It's okay. I have not encountered any health problems so far.
When you're a gamer, you have to grass.
Yes. Yay. Easy. Yes. Beautiful. I'm going to change the pace to strenuous pace. Let's see. Food rations. We're currently at filling. Okay, that's good.
Go.
Yeah. Fort Walla Walla or the Dallies? Oh, we're so close. I think the Dallies is, yeah. Okay. Head for the Dallies. Oh, John is going through it. Okay.
Very poor health.
Inadequate grass.
Somebody dies here.
No, we're going. Oh.
Take the toll road.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. What? Yeah. That's. Oh.
That's so rough.
Oh no.
Yeah, how much would that be? What was the year? It's 1848.
Yeah.
Inflation calculator.
Oh my God.
Maybe like $1 is $5.
Hey!
Oh, we did it! Woo! Let's see how many.
You're 1 minute late though, so you have to go back.
Oh.
Okay. 1848. No, wait a second. $8 in. Oh goodness. Oh, it doesn't go back that far. 1913 is as far back as I can go. $257. 1913.
Wow. Well, good thing we're extremely wealthy.
Yes, good thing we're a banker, I suppose. I'm surprised we were able to fix so many things. So, everyone, right? Really fun game. If that seemed a bit simplistic, a bit basic in its aesthetics and its gameplay, remember, right? That is a mid-70s game, okay? Like the NES, Super Mario Brothers wasn't a thing, okay, at that point. And you can imagine, right, what the students thought about this kind of stuff, right? Getting to avoid the textbook, getting to actually get in there, hear about things happening to them. Right? Imagine the screams when, one of their teammates gets bitten by a snake, right? Or gets a broken arm or ends up being thrown in the river, right? What Don Rowich said was that he noticed they only had a few terminals that could be used, okay? So only a few sessions of the game could be played at any given time. As a result, the students had to form these kinds of groups to play the game at the same time, and he noticed that discussions and debates would break out, right? Much in the same way that they would have debates on the actual Oregon Trail, on the wagon train. When should we leave? What kind of supplies should we buy? Where should we go? Do we need to stock up and head to the fort, or can we take a shortcut, right? Can we take a shortcut through those mountains, and then we turn into the Donner Party, right? Not so great. So he noticed the things that you could do with this interactivity, not by reading about the situation in a textbook, but by placing yourself into the situation in an experience, okay? And now imagine what you could do if we had VR headsets on, you were on the wagon going through the mountains, on the trail, a big wagon train in front of you, how much your perspective of that piece of history might change, okay? And you can see the appeal, you can see the value in what XR can do with education, okay? So think about your P3, all right? You got some time before you're going to have to make that decision. You're going to want to start thinking about that P3 team, okay? Because 1 week from today, we're launching that project, okay? Good luck to all of you finishing up Project 2. Don't stress too much. Do the best you can. And that's going to be due on Monday. Okay, you'll get a tiny break, and then we'll start P3. Everyone, we got office hours for the next hour or so. If you want any help, I'll be walking around. Otherwise, thank you for being here. Thanks for coming to Oregon with me, and we'll see you next week. Okay, take care, and everyone online, take care to you as well. Bye bye.